Okay, it's Tremia. I have worked and worked and worked on this video, and I don't know, everything on my end is working out, and I think it must be YouTube, and I cannot get, this will be like my 5th video that I've tried to make, so let's hope that this works, and I'll do it probably in 2 parts because I'm sure it's going to take more than 10 minutes. Okay, this is going to be about me surviving severe sepsis and what severe sepsis is. Severe sepsis is an inflammatory process in the body due to an infection in your bloodstream. So I had an infection just in my blood, just pumping through my heart and everything, which is scary. I don't recommend it. I'm really tired and worn out. I just got back from my rheumatologist, and she said that from the severe sepsis, it's about a 2-month recovery. And that's on top of every other recovery that I have. The recovery from the stem cell transplant, the recovery from the rare virus that I had, recovery from everything, the NK cells, the natural killer cells. So, I've had a lot going on since May 12th. So, my body is pretty knocked down. With severe sepsis, you have an organ failure, and I'm sitting here going, well, what was my organ failure? And when we got to the hospital, my blood pressure was 60/40. My respirations was 28 plus per minute, which you're supposed to be at between 12 and 18. And my heart rate was 160 plus beats per minute, which the average heart rate is around 70. And that is considered organ failure. And I didn't think, that it was, or I never considered it. But then when you think about it, it is. I mean, your blood pressure is bottoming out. Your heart is racing so fast that it could stop at any minute. And I couldn't breathe, pulmonary. So, yeah. I cannot remember the majority of it, which is good. When we went to the hospital, to the ER, I was coherent, and Dwayne said he knew when it changed. The highest my temperature got was 104.8. They identified me as septic as soon as I come in based upon my blood pressure, my heart rate, my temperature, and my respirations, and they immediately started the sepsis protocol. And a nurse that just is designated for the sepsis was assigned to me along with all my other ER nurses and doctors. And she would say, okay, this needs to be done. She kept on top of the sepsis and the infection. They did blood cultures, but that takes 3 days to get, the true answer. It did start growing bacteria, within the first 24 hours, but they couldn't identify it. I was on 3 different antibiotics for 3 days, and they were IV antibiotics, and I just remember throwing up a lot. To get my blood pressure under control, they were loading me with fluids, and since the source of my the sepsis was my port, so they couldn't use it, so they did the central line in my neck, and it had the 3 lumens for them to work with drawing blood, you know, giving me medications and giving me the fluids. And I can't remember it, which I'm glad. Every time I've had that done, I'm glad I can't remember it, because, you know, they basically, they do numb you right there, but it's just topical, or, you know, just lidocaine, whatever, and a numbing injection. And then they put the central line in, and it goes down into your heart. And that line is thick as a pen, a writing pen, you know. It's a big line. And then they sew it into place. So they sew you up. There's like 3 or 4 stitches there. I'm glad I can't remember that. I'm getting a shade. I'm having trouble holding this. Sorry if it's so shaky, but my arms are so weak. Also, they catheterized me because, you know, they're doing all the fluids. And, I mean, it was just bag after bag after bag. And it took, Dwayne said, between 2 and 3 days for them to get my blood pressure, heartbeats, and my respirations stabilized. I was in ICU. I remember I didn't like it because it was always lights on, bright lights, noise, because like you're in little like cubicles, like little rooms, like in the emergency room, so you don't really have privacy other than a curtain. And so, like, you know, it's just constant noise, and I didn't like it because visiting hours. So, like, Dwayne could only be there at certain times, and then he had to leave. And I remember not liking that and causing problems. But, you know, I really wasn't coherent. And you know, Dwayne said I acted okay. But I think when he wasn't there, I gave the nurse quite a bit of trouble. I had one nurse, and she had one patient, so it's 1-to-1 ratio, and he, and, you know, based upon who it was at the time. But, you know, so they were constantly on me, you know, making sure that I was okay. And, oops, sorry. So I'm going to stop this video right now, and I'm going to start part 2. So I'm going to upload them, you know, separately, and hopefully it'll work, because I'm getting so frustrated. But I want to talk about sepsis and all of that. So I'll see you in part 2. See you in the next video.